Family, what's going on? 500K trade tapping in, and today is going to be a very important and good informational and educational video when it comes to down to putting all the pieces of the puzzle together when it comes to the Confluence Profile 500K model 1 of 1. I'm doing as best as I possibly can by strengthening the pieces together that will give us a higher conviction rate of entering trades. Okay, so today is going to take place. I'm going to go back to August 31st, September 1st, and September 2nd price action. We're going to look at the order flow footprint. We're going to look at the time statistics, and we're going to really focus on the CVD, which is the cumulative volume delta, to really show us how this long took place. And as long as we can continue to implement this into our everyday strategy, we shall have a very successful future in trading gold. Okay, so let's go ahead and get down to it. Today is September 28th, 2025. I hope everybody's in great spirits. Okay, and let's go ahead and break down this video. Let's look at the order flows, look at the price action, look at the CVD. Let's see what took place on the August 31st, September 1st, and September 2nd, and let's see what really took place, okay? All right, let's get into it. All right, okay, so here we go. So here we are. Okay, here we are. This is on bar replay, and we are on September 2nd. But now let's look at this. Okay. Okay, so from Asia session to the next day Asia session. Okay, obviously this is let's just call it a low. This is called the high, okay? So from the low of Asia session on Sunday, this is the market open, okay? So the Friday, the market created a high, okay? We swept this low, and then we came and created a new high. Okay, so this was market open, okay, in the beginning of a brand new month. Right, so Asia session took off to the high, okay, and then we ranged, and then the next day, Monday, Asia session after New York, Asia came and created a new high. So from this Asia low to this Asia high, I drew out the Gann box, and as you can see, we have, let's just call it the 4-hour swing EQ, how prices just ping-ponging back and forth off of this, and it's not breaking on the 15-minute time frame. Okay, on the 15-minute time frame, it's holding. It held over London session. Okay, that 4-hour swing EQ at 542, it held. Okay, so now let's go ahead and open up our CVD. Okay, and let's look at what really took place. Okay, so as we can see, this level right here at 7K, it's being used as a strong level of support and resistance on the CVD. That's what we need to pay attention to right here. This level right here at 7K, okay, as we can see, okay, let's see. So this is last week. I apologize. This is not last week, but this was the market open. Okay, this was the market open on August 31st. Okay, so remember the market closed bit bullish on Friday, and then we came, as you can see, we start fresh at the EQ, our point level 0. Okay, and then the market took up. All right, rallied up, huge rally. Okay, and as you can see, we're also riding this internal range liquidity trend line. Let me see if I can even max it out just a little bit to see if that can touch. Or am I reaching? I'm low-key reaching. Let me just go ahead and put that back. Okay. So, but What held on the CVD? Look what held this level of support. It was being used as a level of resistance, okay? And now when we broke through it, now we're using it as a level of support at 7K. And this is what I noticed in the CVD, okay? So this is the volume. This is the net difference between the buyers and the sellers in the aggressiveness, okay? So this is a way for us to tell like who like the true intentions and the convictions between buyers and the sellers, or behind the buyers and the sellers, okay? So as you can see, huge conviction, okay, in this rally from the buyers, okay? And sellers push price back down, okay? And this level in the CVD 7K held. All right, and we have an internal range. I really want to put it right here. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Here I go again. I need to stop it. Okay. Okay. So, and we have this internal range liquidity trend line. Okay. The ascending internal range liquidity trend line that was created by buyers. 7K held as a level of support. This is what we need to pay attention to. Okay. Now let's go ahead and push price forward. Now we are at London session. Okay. So obviously the market is bullish. The market is bullish, okay, and 7K is holding. All right. Now let's call 7K the 4-hour swing EQ on price action, okay? So this is at 542, okay? So at 542, which is, let's just call it the swing EQ from this Asia low to this Asia high, okay? So from market open, this was the low, to this high, this level 542 is holding. Let's just go ahead and call this level 7K on the CVD. Okay. Now, what I noticed is we have this 15-minute sub X level. Okay. So if we go ahead and push price forward, okay, price reacted to this 15-minute sub X level as it did in price action. Okay. So if we look right here, consolidated a little bit, and then we had that huge drop. Okay, price came back into that. All right. Now, price came back into that. Now, this is at NY. This is pre-market. This is pre-market in NY. So this is 5 a.m., 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, pre-market. Price came, and now we are sweeping this internal range liquidity, which is good. Okay. Remember, we are still bullish though, because this market is overall bullish. We're just sweeping the internal range liquidity trend line. We're sweeping this. All right. Now, let's look at the CVD in the order flow. Okay. So the CVD in the order flow. All right. So from market open. Okay. This is on the first, right? Let me see. This is on the first. This is on the first. And then we had that big, which is at 78.5. This is at 78.5. Yeah, okay. Okay, perfect. So here we are. So as you can see, the start of a brand new day. So as you can see, the session delta went from 4,300 to just, a positive 606. It's a brand new market open. Okay. Now, as you can see, watch how, as you can see, as price continues to rise, okay, as price continues to rise, the session delta gets stronger and stronger. Okay. 330s to 740s, 760s, to now we're in the thousands to 2200. Okay, so it really shot up right here. Okay, now we're in the 3Ks, 3700. Okay, we rallied up very strongly and we created this high at 78.5. So let's go ahead and mark that off. Okay, 78.5 is the high. 78.5. with a strong Celsius delta, okay, with a strong Celsius delta of 3700 and a strong delta of 1051, okay. Now we can start to see how the volume is slowly but slowly incrementally is starting to fade. So we go from 3700, 3300, 34, 30, 32. Now we're down to 2900, okay, and you can see how the volume, okay, is, so we remember we hit 78.5. Okay, and that was at a 3700. That was the strongest the session delta ever was, and then we slowly start to fade. 2900, 2800, 2700, 2600. So what does that mean? The intention behind buyers are fading away. So the session delta is basically the same thing as the CVD. Okay, so as you can see right here in the candle representation, okay, as you can see, this the time statistics is a number, but on the CVD that I have here on the chart, it's a candlestick representation on the 15-minute time frame. So when we came up, I apologize, not right here. We hit 78.5, okay? So when we came up, now this is a minor support and resistance level, okay? So we came up when we hit the bottom side of these candles right here. This is just a minor support and resistance level. This is just textbook, okay? So we hit 78.5 right here, 78.5. Okay, we hit this high, and then the volume immediately, buyers immediately liquidated all that. They sold off all their positions, and then sellers came in, okay, and took this market short. Okay, now we have this level where we kind of consolidated just a little bit, okay, because we came down into these levels of demand, okay, and then we broke that aggressively, okay. Now we came into this 4-hour swingy Q level, okay. So now we are here at pre-market open, which is 5 a.m. West Coast time, 8 a.m. East Coast time. Okay, now let's go back to the footprint. Okay, let's go back to the footprint and let's see what we can see. So right here at 12 p.m. on Addis time, this is obviously 5 a.m. Pre-market open. Okay, so at pre-market open, the Celsius, now as you can see, remember all the way back here, the Celsius delta printed at 3700. Okay, 3700, then it went down to 23k. 2800, 2800. Then it went down from 22 to 1500, okay? 1200, 700, 400, 100, and then it went down to finally a negative. The Celsius delta went negative from 103, from just a light of 103 to a negative 1200. Okay? To a negative 1200. All right? And what is this level? 38.2, 38.2. 38.2 is roughly 38.2 is right here. Okay, 38.5. Okay, so we can also call this another level of support right here into the market. Let's go ahead and call that a minor support and resistance. Okay, right, support it, support it. Look at all these times we came down, we supported it. We pushed back up. We supported it during this stuff, during this London session. Okay, we came back. We pushed up, and then we came back down during Monday's New York session. We came down into this level 38.5. We supported it. Okay, so 38.5 is heavily being supported. We came back, and so in the very next day, London came back down into this level, supported it. 38.5, we pushed back up. New York session opened up. We came and we swept this, and we came into this 15-minute level of supply. Okay, we're going to call this candle right here a 15-minute level of supply. Why? Because this was the last candle before we had that break. So price came and tried to use this as a level of demand. Buyers tried to use this as a level of demand. We kind of consolidated, rearranged. Okay, this was the very last candle. So we're going to call this our 15-minute POI supply. Okay, and that got rejected heavily. All right, where do we see that? Right here. So that happened right here. Okay. Oh, I apologize. This is wrong. So we're going to delete that. It was right here. It was this level right here. Okay. Okay, we're gonna call this a level of, we're gonna call this a supply zone. Okay, so what happened? So we came down into that 38.5. We supported it. Okay, buyers supported 38.5. We came up into this candle right here, which is the last candle before we had that huge sell off. Okay, and that sell off was for about, so we have this level all the way down to 38.5. That was for 240 points. Okay, so a $24 drop in gold. Okay, so sellers rejected that 38.5 into there, and then we came back down to 38.5. We had another bounce off of there. Okay, we had another bounce off of that. Now, let's look at what the session delta is doing. Okay, so the session delta is just kind of ping ponging back and forth from negative to positive. It's not really showing any true intention. Okay, but this is where we started to get the really true intention. So at 130, which is 130 on Addis is New York Open. So the 130 is 630 on Addis. So let's go down into the 5 minute time frame and let's pay very strong attention to the CVD. Okay, let's pay very strong attention to the CVD. So let's go back. Okay. So we came up. We came up and we came up into this that 15-minute sub X level. Okay. That 15-minute sub X level. Okay, and we swept this internal range liquidity trend line. Okay. Let's play fast forward. We came up. All right. We tried to have a strong reaction. And we swept that low. Okay. So this is what I've been noticing about gold. So this is how gold has been playing. So before we get a huge move up, we're going to come and sweep that low. Okay. So now that we swept this low on the CVD, cumulative volume delta. Okay. Let's go ahead and we call that a liquidity sweep. All right. We swept this low. Now play a price forward. Okay. So now we're coming to retest the bottom side of this internal range liquidity trend line. All right. But now look at on price action. So we came up, we created a high, and now we're kind of just ping ponging. We're kind of just using the level of the VWAP as a level of support. Okay, now we officially came up and broke this high. Okay, we broke this high. All right, now let's go down to the 1 minute time frame. Okay, so now this is something else that I've noticed, right? So the Heiken Heikin candlesticks will show a different CVD than the regular candlesticks. But, and this is just how I trade, okay? So as you can see, we have this level of support and resistance. So this is the minor support and resistance level, okay, on the 1 minute time frame. And this is how I scalped this, and this is how I found this trade. So on the 1 minute time frame, we came up and we broke this high. Okay, now we're coming into this 1 minute sub X level. But this is the level that I'm really interested in. This is the level that I'm really interested in. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull out our our buy limit. Okay, now watch this. So if we come back down, now if we can come back down and retest this, let's take it long. Okay, because this is a simple textbook break and retest. Okay, so we were using this as a level of support. I mean, as a level of resistance. Okay, now we're just ping ponging between support and resistance. Okay, we came down into this level of support, and then we took off like a rocket to the upside. Okay, now we broke above this. We broke above the internal range liquidity trend line that needed to be swept. Okay, sellers did their job of sweeping it, and now buyers are reclaiming the stronger hand. Okay, now we came up into this 15-minute sub X level one more time. Okay, which was this level right here, the 15-minute. Okay, we came up into this level. Okay, which is that support and resistance. All right. Now, if we can get the retest back down and into this level, we'll take it long. Okay, so let's go back down to the 1 minute time frame. So in the 1 minute time frame, Okay. Okay, we finally got that pull back into that level. Now that we got the pull back into this level on the CVD, okay, let's go and look at what this looks like on the 652. Okay, so let's go to the 5 minute time frame. Now, this was at 557. 557. Okay, so we came up into this level and then we had a small reaction down. So let me see, what was the entry? What is the entry getting ready to be at? 46. Okay, so this basically the VWAP is the entry because we came back down into at 13.46K, which on the CVD, which is being used as a level of support. So let's go ahead and enter right there on market entry. Okay, let's give ourselves a 50-point stop. So long position. All right, we'll give ourselves a 50-point stop. Confirm. Okay, and we're going to aim for Asia high. We're going to aim for Asia's high. Okay, so Asia's high. That's a 6R move. 6R move. Okay, so if we look right here, okay, so we had a reaction up. Okay, we reacted to this triple stacked selling imbalance. We had a reaction and we came up and broke that. Okay, now if we use this level right here as a sub X level, okay, you could use that. That's an entry for you, or you could use the 46.8. So we had this level, we came up, we came back down, and then 46 was really this candle right here. So we consolidated and then we took off. So let's look at what this candle looks like right here. So the Celsius delta is negative. So negative 800, negative 600, 800, and then it flipped right here when we broke this high, 46.8. Okay, on the 5 minute time frame. So when that came back down into there, that was the entry right there at 46. Okay. Now let's go back. All right. So now we came and we entered. All right. So when price came back down here on the 1 minute time frame, when we came and retest this long, when we came in to retest this support and resistance level, okay, we took the market long. Now let's see. Immediately strong reaction. We broke that high. Now we're floating in profit 3K. Okay. So now that we're floating in profit 3K, let's wait till we break this high before we start to manage it. Okay. We broke that high. Now let's go and being that price came to retest this level and it bounced off of this. Look right here on the CVD. Okay. Right here. So that's this candle right here. When it lines up, we're going to go and monitor. We're going to manage it underneath there. Okay. So that gives us a band to secure. All right. So now look at the CVD just ripping to the upside. Okay. Now we manage more. So we come and manage this high. Okay. At 4K. Ooh, I think we managed it too hard. We manage it too hard. But still, watch her. She still runs. Oh, we should never did that. Let's just manage it underneath this one. Confirm. Okay. Now, boom. TP hit 12K just for risking 2K. 6 times 2 is 12, so that was a 6-star trade. And all we did was we targeted Asia high. And that play set up directly here in the CVD. So we were riding that internal range liquidity trend line. We came up to that 15-minute. Okay. We came up into that 15-minute. We came back down to retest 7K right here. Okay. This is textbook, right? So we swept that low. We came up to retest the trend line. Came back down. Buyers defended this level. We pushed back up. Okay. And then we pushed back down to retest 7K. What is 7K again? 7K is that huge level of support on the CVD. All right. Let's go back down to the 5-minute. Okay. So we retested that level. Okay. So we came up. But in the PA, see, another thing we have to pay attention to in the price action. Once we see us breaking these highs, we could have been in this trade a long time ago. And that's why we entered right here. All right. Because it showed up better on the 1-minute time frame. Okay. Because once we got this rejection candle right here, once we got this rejection candle and this huge bull candle, that was an entry. That was a signal to go long. Okay, we came up into this level right here, this level of supply. We had a small reaction, and then we flipped it, and we took off to the upside. And that long ran for 305 points. So that's a $30 increase on gold. A $30 increase, a $30 rally on gold from 547 to 578. On a 50-point stop, that ran for 300 points, so that's 6R. 4 contracts on gold on GC. So $100. So on gold, it's $100 per point, right? So if you're trading 4 contracts, it's basically $400 per point per dollar. So being that price ran for $30, right? 4 times 3 is 12, and that's why this came out to a 12K long. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just stop it right there. But the CVD is very powerful. We have to start paying more attention to the CVD, the cumulative volume delta, pairing it with the order flow. Okay, pairing it with the order flow and the time of statistics. Obviously, we can see the right, the ask and the bid, and then we're gonna look at the delta and the Celsius delta. The Celsius delta is basically the same as the CVD. It's just showing the intention and the conviction behind buyers and sellers. And the CVD truly led us to understanding this long that ran for $30, 305 points. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it with that, family. All praise to the Most High. If you haven't, please follow the YouTube page and definitely follow me on Telegram here at Blackhouse 500K. All right, and then follow me on YouTube. Subscribe. All right. Remember, when it comes to financial risk management, all right, our profession is just to manage the downside cost of printing high side returns of money consistently through any market conditions. Done correctly, well, an abundance of fruit awaits us. Godspeed. 500K trade, we out. Black House Management, 500K.